here I am sitting here realizing that it's just dawned on me I've never actually paid full retail for a running shoe. And I kind of thought about that a little bit deeper, and I kind of want to share with you how to achieve that too. I'm Salvatore, a humble 9 to 5 office worker, a runner, a cyclist, a commuter, an aspiring athlete, a cook, someone who loves to have his all his shirts freshly ironed, sleep in a freshly made bed, go have amazing coffee and food with my girlfriend as we both push each other to conquer mountains and conquer life and soon conquer a fun run better than we did the year before. So we're super excited for that. So if you listen today, I will share with you and take you through step by step everything you need to consider, and you can kind of stack these benefits to get even more crazy discounts on your running shoes. So that sounds interesting. Please listen along and join. First off, I have to kind of give you a bit of a history and kind of how it started clicking in my head to get the 1,000 weight for them. What do I mean by that? Okay, let me take you back to 2019. I kind of wanted to get more into running 5Ks and kind of putting a good time in. So I knew that in my mind, 5K was something I want to train for. It's not too long of a distance, not too short of a distance, require some effort, and it require a good shoe. And Nike just came out with this crazy shoe where they put like a carbon fiber plate in it, right? Nuts. And basically the whole world changed overnight. And shoes just became like, it became so much quicker. So I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. They did 3 versions. They did a version that just had it was like the silhouette of it with the heavier foam. Then they had the heavier durable foam, which is like the daily training foam with the carbon fiber plate, and then the race day shoe with the carbon fiber plate, super light foam, but it was super expensive, super limited. And I couldn't afford it back then because I was just getting into running. And then I couldn't even afford the middle of the road either. And then my mum was in Nike and she's like, do you need anything? I'm like, well, I don't need anything, but I'm thinking, can you check if they have these shoes? This is 2019. This shoe kind of got released around 2017. It's like, actually, yes, they have that shoe that you're asking for and they've got it on sale. It's $160 Australian. I'm like, okay, that's actually a pretty good deal. Let's get them. And now I tried to do some research. It seems that these shoes were originally Australian, I think 230. If someone could actually find what the price of the original, and I'll show you, Nike Zoom Fly Flyknits were, Gen 1s, please comment and let me know because I think it's 230 and that's what I'm going to assume for this video. And that shoe, I loved it. I did so much training in. I did many 5Ks and it took me to the point where my fastest 5K ever of 19 minutes and 36 seconds. I was like, it was absolutely nuts. There were people that raced in the actual proper racing shoe that day at the what's known as a park run where you run 5Ks and it's like a fun run, a bit competitive. It was absolutely nuts. So it was kind of like my first foray and my very first shoe purchase. And it kind of made me think, hang on, that's something I wanted. And it actually went on sale. Like, even though it was like a more premium shoe, I guess, it still went on sale. And I was like, holy moly. And that kind of got my brain thinking, we need to be patient. And that kind of takes me to my next point, because as that shoe kind of went on sale, the next version of that shoe came out. And what I'm trying to get at with you is buy the previous model. Why is that? So you see, the thing is, with running shoes, if you go from one model to another, the next generation, there's not necessarily a lot of change. So you're still going to be able to benefit a lot of what that shoe is, but you get a much, much cheaper price into entry. But as well as that, what's really, really important, which I want to stress upon you, is that if you were to get the latest and greatest and thinking that you need to have the most new shoe, well, guess what? There's a couple of interesting factors. One, you're going to pay full retail, which is what this video is trying to get around, right? Two, the shoe's not market tested. What does that mean? Why are you talking about that? It means runners haven't really reviewed it and given it much of a sense of how it works, how many Ks you can put in it, what type of runs it's suited for, which I've explained in another video. You've got, you know, your daily training, you've got your speed workouts, you've got tempo intervals, race day. Where does the shoe fit in that like meta of running? Like what can you use it for, right? It's kind of like, well, it's an unknown. But if you kind of have the previous model, there is so many reviews, there's so much information out there. So you can make a really, really informed decision and figure, well, actually, I'm going to invest in this shoe. So if I was to kind of explain what happened with this shoe and the next generation after, as you can see, the tread is absolutely gone and I've retired these shoes, but I don't want to chuck them out. This shoe was amazing. The next version after added more weight and more traction, and it became a lot more of a bulkier. It wasn't really as good for running faster, and it's kind of okay like at running like a medium pace, but you can't really run it in a slower pace because it's got the carbon fiber plate. It's really stiff. So it's kind of like, I don't know. And that kind of then takes me to, as you can see, it kind of got worn out. So I was using it for faster runs, but because it got to a point where, like if the road was wet or like I kind of took going at speed, I want to make sure I'm safe. So it's kind of where I got another shoe, this one. And I'm going to just, full disclosure, this technically was full retail when I paid for it, but I actually had some gift vouchers and I had a Nike membership and I got a discount. So even though this was retail $270, I only paid $45 for it. And see, the thing about this shoe is it's such a cool colorway. And you know what? I'm going to come back to this shoe. This is technically the next shoe I got, but I want to come back to that and park it and say this is kind of the shoe that kind of replaced that one in terms of running every day and kind of the next big deal I got and kind of like gets to the next point. So this is the previous model, so tick. So that's the first point we're talking about in this video. But there's something about this shoe that I don't know if you can tell. Can you see it? Is there something that you can notice? Probably can't, unless I showed you. If I showed you, no, you can't even see in there. I'm just going to tell you, it's a female running shoe. But you can't even tell. So you see, the thing is, if you buy the female version, it's the previous model and it's probably discounted. So to kind of leverage off getting the previous model when there's no previous models left, check the women's size. Particularly if there's no difference between the male and the female shoe, aside from the colorways, of course, and that depends on what colorways you're comfortable wearing. But in this case, a simple black and white shoe, can't go wrong. No one can tell, and it's amazing. So that's kind of like the next point I'm trying to say. So you got to get the previous model, and by getting the female shoe, you can kind of like benefit from getting more shoes than you would. And I guess it's vice versa for females getting male shoes, assuming their foot's big enough to convert to a male shoe. Like, it's just really cool to kind of, that's another way of saving lots of money. So this shoe retailed about $260. So I paid $160 for these, I reckon it was. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a tally up on the screen somewhere and kind of you'll see it add up and we'll kind of get to the end where I, say how much I save and it's going to be like, insane in the membrane, all right? So that was kind of the shoe that I used for like the daily training, and that was kind of has gotten me through a lot lately. Now, the next shoe I got, like I said, was this one. This is just a shoe they use for faster workouts, intervals, or tempo runs. Intervals are runs where you do a race pace at a certain distance, say 1K, then you do a rest, and then you do it again. It's like it's a HIIT workout, basically, and so on and so forth. And this is more suited for doing that type of run. It's a speed shoe. And I did my research, I really wanted it. It's kind of like the racing version of this, and then I'll get to this one too, but it's like the more chilled out version, and you can put heaps of Ks in it without it, without it wearing out, and you kind of feel like it's a good shoe for like running at speed. And then also, I guess, like I said, got this, which kind of like somewhat takes me to my next point. Have a shoe plug or like look for deals locally, what's around on your like Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree if you're in Australia. Because these shoes were $380 and I got them for $200. And these are so worth it. They're worth the $200. You know, I've used them for my first, like, for a couple of races now, and I just feel super amazing using them. So that's that shoe. And then I'd say probably the next shoe I got was this one. And there's the newer version of, hang on. One, two. Okay, this all makes sense. So this one is like a daily trainer, but it's a trail shoe. So this original retail $230. I paid $100 for it. Waterproof trail shoe, lots of tread, daily trainer, lots of mileage you can put on it, or Ks. Amazing shoe. This shoe as well, daily trainer. Eventually, this will have to be replaced. I got this. So this is the current version, oddly enough. But here's the thing that I will share with you. Companies that I've observed, mainly Nike and I guess other ones, shoes are a product where they get replaced almost every year or so by the latest and greatest version. Think about like an iPhone. So with that, what Nike do, and other companies, but I've definitely observed this with Nike, is they put the shoe on discount. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of all of the shoes. So when they launch the new shoe, consumers are forced to buy the new shoe because there's no old stock. Unless, of course, there is odd sizes floating around, and that depends on, you know, what size you are. If you've got a smaller foot, you know, opposite ends of the bell curve, there's likely to be more sizes floating around, right? So you've kind of got the idea of that, right? And then you've also got the idea of buying the female shoe as well. That's kind of why when they release their new shoe, they're hoping that like people that want to get the shoe have no options for the older model. And that's why the older ones are put at a discount to entice people to buy them like me, so they get rid of the stock as well. This shoe retails for $260. I got it for $100, which is insane, right? So it seems to me that the next shoe of this is going to be, it's not confirmed yet, but it's going to be a shoe that's going to be more expensive, more thicker, more technology, more premium. But we're not exactly sure when that's coming out, but there's kind of an idea. So it's probably going to be closer to $300. This I paid $100 for. And then the other day, so I'll kind of get to my next point, which is going to be, if you don't have a plug, check if there's an outlet. So for me in Adelaide, I think it's 2 years now, there's a Nike outlet that's open, and they have everything from basketball shoes, casual shoes, kids shoes, like, you know, running, tennis, whatever you can think of, and they've got running shoes, which is awesome, both men and women. So you kind of stack your points of what we're getting at. So the thing about an outlet is really interesting. Outlets will have, even this, the newest current version of the Invincible, they still get it. Why? Well, see, the thing is, shoes release lots of colorways. Not all colorways will sell, and not all stock will sell because it might be too expensive. So by the time it gets to the outlet, this $280 shoe gets down to $180, which is kind of another one I got the other day of this because it was such a good deal. So I've got this actually in black and white as well. That's in the box over there. Sitting at $180. Good deal, right? You're saving about $80. But here's another thing. If you are a member of Nike and you're the emailing, they'll send you an email to say, hey, it's a members day and there's 40% off everything, which includes these shoes that are already discounted to $180, which then would take them down to, depending on the discount. So with those ones the other day, they were discounted 40%. So $180, take 40% is $108. It's $108 versus $260, almost a third of the price. So I've got two of these Invincibles on standby and still less than the price of one pair. Other pair I got from this pair I got from my shoe plug for $100. The pair I purchased the other day was $108. So that's what, $208 right there. Crazy, 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 crazy. And then the other day, I was kind of thinking, because I was at Nike, the outlet, checking it out. So you want to check out the outlet, see what's around, and then, so there's a 40% members day, and there's also another thing that they do. If they've got a shoe that's been sitting there for a bit and they don't sell, they have to clear stock. They simply have to churn through stock, sell it, make some money. It's the whole point of them, right? which is interesting. They put this shoe on the back shelf, take off the lid, and 50% off. So that's where it's like that's, and what you can do is you can ring up Nike to say, hey, this shoe was in there the other day. Has it hit the back wall? When will it hit the back wall? What size have you got left? And they'll be like, oh yeah. And then you like go and get it. There's not a lot of people, even though I'm in Adelaide, a very running centric place, there's not a lot of people that know about Nike running shoes and, you know, what's what and what's a good deal, to the extent that I feel I know and can like advise people of. And kind of because that, me and my girlfriend were in Nike Harbour Town the other day and the latest version of these, the Nike Vaporfly 3s were, and I'll get to this shoe in a second too, because this adds to the daily too. The Nike Vaporfly 3s were on sale because they hit the back wall. So they first got there, the men's size was $280, women's was $260 a pair, and which is a pretty good price. Again, I could get the women's shoe, which looked pretty sick. But we're like, still a lot of money, all right? Okay, so think about that, think. And then found out that the other day that we happened to go back there just to kind of check out, the women's shoes had hit the back wall in my girlfriend's size. So she got a pair, which meant they were discounted from $230 to $115. $115, a third of the price for the latest version of these, which are Gen 3, $340, I believe, at the moment. So again, like that was a discount that she got, and I would have also like probably could have tried to rock those if I hadn't gotten these, which I got from my shoe plug. Also, I got these for $160. Crazy good deal. These retailed about $330. I'm pretty sure, maybe $340. I'm pretty sure they're more $330, I think. And now, what I was talking about, the shoe models, right? This is different to the third gen. This is considered more of the elite shoe. It's a little bit more snappier. It's a bit less forgiving. But if you've got good form, you know, you're really putting the pace in, this shoe will really reward you and give you more of that push. The latest version is great, but it's a little bit more suited to the more everyday for people, like as kind of a shoe that they can get along with a bit easier. This is a bit more harsh and rigid. Like if you don't have good running form, this will punish you. So this is kind of something I'm excited to use for shorter runs, like say 5K, because they're super lightweight. You can use these for like a half marathon, even a marathon too. But the point about these for a marathon is that they'll kind of protect your feet and they'll protect your form a little bit if you kind of drop a bit as you kind of get to those later stages in the race, because they've got the AirPods as well. So you've kind of got carbon plate, lightweight foam, AirPods, carbon plate, lightweight foam. So these are a little bit heavier than these. So it's kind of like how you go about it. So then I think that takes us to all of the shoes and the benefits I'm trying to talk about, right? So of course, this will kind of depend. See, I used to think me being small, 5'4", really sucked. But the reality is, having kind of like that situation, I'm pretty lucky when it comes to my size for shoes. Like they don't seem to sell out and they always seem to be available. Like I could have got the Vaporfly 3s for $60, right? But I didn't want to pay that price. And I was kind of hearing that the 2 might be better. And then my plug had another size of the 2. So that was kind of where I went. But kind of to go back to these, well, the only ones I paid full retail at, but it was okay because I really wanted these shoes, really sick colorway. I had the voucher, so I didn't technically pay $270. And then because I was a Nike member, I got a discount, bringing them down another $20, $30. I only paid $45 for these. And as soon as I walked out the store, these shoes on Farfetched, I believe, which is an online store for like high-end goods, sold these for about $400 or $500. So I could have easily flipped these shoes for giving me like almost a $500 profit. But I didn't want to do that because I love these shoes. I actually wanted to run in them. I wasn't going to like resell them as a hype beast. I wanted to just actually run, because that's the whole point of me buying the shoes and spending the time researching them. But again, these shoes as well, I found out, also hit the Nike outlet. So again, if I kind of been diligent enough and known, I could have got these for a good deal as well. So that's kind of how it all comes together. So when we were at the outlet like the other day, and the Vaporfly 3s were $115. So, I mean, they're not the oldest version, but like in theory, let's say there's a Vaporfly 4, right? That would be the previous model. So ticking that box, check female size because they seem to have more floating around. And if you don't have men's, you can use a female size. So then there wasn't any for female size, but that's okay. But that would have been an option, but there was for my girlfriend. So she got to get an amazing, amazing race shoe for cheaper than the price of a current day daily trainer, which is insane. And then of course, signing up to Nike, having the discounts, and then we could have got a further $10 off if we filled out a survey. So you can see how it all kind of like stacks up, and kind of the point of why I'm trying to say to you, get the previous model. It's still fine. It's still brand new. You can still put lots of Ks in it. And I guess the point I'm trying to get at, which is really interesting and kind of the way I see it now, like hoarding and kind of not hoarding, but having shoes in backup. So these are my backup race shoes. These shoes are my race day shoes, but I haven't put much Ks in it. Now, to kind of make this work and to see, well, when should I replace my shoes? Well, first, get a Strava, sign up, it's free. Second, on Strava, you can go in it and actually put in every run you do, it will log it and then say to you how much each shoe has Ks wise in them. And then based on your research, how much mileage they say they get, when it's about time to retire them. So I'm going to cut to me showing you.
Just going to visually show you how to update the your running gear for every type of run that you've done. See, for me, I've been meaning to do this for a while, to show basically how to, on Strava, go to basically update all your events, and that way you can kind of track your Ks in your shoes easier. So I guess the first thing you can do is on Strava itself. So we'll go to the settings, and we're going to go to settings, and then we're going to go to my gear. And then what we're going to do is you're going to see like my shoes. You can like add shoes. And what you'll see is I've got the shoes. So I've got 3 pairs of shoes, which I use for most of my runs. And I've just updated one of the activities, and it says now 6 kilometers are on these shoes. And basically this is my default shoe because it's my daily trainer. And you'll see, interestingly, if we hover over it, we can retire or delete it. And if we need to update any information on it, we'll click in it and we can actually add some additional notes and say a notification of when to let us know when it's reached a certain amount of Ks, which is pretty cool. So every time I do a run, it assumes these shoes are used and therefore adds them to the total. Now, but what about these other shoes? So this is a shoe used for race day, and this is a shoe used for my tempo runs. Okay, so if we go to, I believe it's my training, my activities, and this is all done on the free account, which is awesome. So we'll see, this is the one I just updated for the Nike Invincibles. This is for my Alpha Flies. So I'm going to go edit, and I'm going to go, yep, run, cool, shoes, Alpha Fly Gen 1, save. And then we go to the next one. This is a super easy way to do this. So if you've got a computer, simply go onto your Strava account, and it's much easier to do it through here than through the app. And then we're going to go another morning run. This was also with my Invincibles. So we go here, save, and then we go through. I ran past the monastery. Thank you for sharing. Save again, and then so on and so forth. And we'll see that when I've gone tempo training run, I'm going to go edit, and I'm going to go shoes, Zoomfly Flyknit Air Tempo, save, and that will update for that. So, I mean, obviously I could go through every single one of these. I've got a couple of runs here. But basically this is like a long and short. So if you want to kind of do it really quickly, you'll be able to see. And then when we go back to my profile itself, hopefully this should all be updated when we go my gear. Where's my gear? Maybe it's settings, sorry. Settings, yep, settings, my gear. Beautiful. Okay, well, that hasn't updated, that's okay. But that one did for the racing shoe. So we know we've got 4.5k kilometers on it, which is good because then you can track really easily when your shoes are getting to a certain point objectively. So opposed to subjectively just feeling when your shoes are like ready to go, you can kind of measure that against what the current Ks are that you're putting in them. And if you're a bit heavier, you might notice your shoes might not last as long, or if you're lighter, you might notice your shoes will last longer than the average. And there's also quality control of the shoe as well, so you will get variation, so bear that in mind. Also, the type of environment you're running on for your shoes. Sometimes the like smooth road surface is much better. Situations of like running through like broken glass and kind of really rough bitumen will probably kind of add more friction and eat into the rubber outsole more. So these things are things to bear in mind. So obviously you've got the idea of checking tracing your KMs that you do on your shoe, how you feel in the shoe when you first used it to now. It's a bit subjective, but you'll kind of get a sense to how your body's feeling. Is it more tired? Then also you can look at the actual bottom, the tread, and kind of measure this all against what the expectation or other reviewers are saying for the shoe itself. I just wanted to kind of share this with you. I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, conquer mountains, conquer life, but more so by conquering the how to trace your shoes, you can with certainty conquer when to retire your shoes and transition into your next pair. Thank you so much.
As you can see, pretty easy, right? So that took me, I did mine and I found out that I'm kind of getting close to about 400 Ks in these, but I wouldn't have known that unless I actually went through and put every run against where I knew I used these shoes. And the cool thing is by having it as a default shoe, the Daily Trainer, it would just automatically tick over to say, hey, you've got, like, it would just add, so a 5K run tomorrow, it will just add it to the tally, like without me having to do anything. And then if I have a race, I just change the gear to the race shoe and then the race shoe gets updated. So that's kind of where you get the idea we can actually see how much longer is left in the shoe objectively, opposed to like being, of course, feel your body, feel the awareness. If there's no traction left in the shoe like this, then that's probably a sign that it's probably getting on and you should probably think of replacing it. But then you can measure that against actually how it feels and then also how many Ks are on it. Now, I want to get to my final point, leveraging, stockpiling, and then waiting for the next set and the next deals. I've got this pair of Invincible 3s and another pair of Backer. These shoes, based on kind of what I understand, these get about 6 to 800 Ks. Now, for the longevity, it depends on kind of your weight, what type of running you're doing, you know, what surface you're on, how smooth is it, so on and so forth, right? So I've got, you know, a daily trainer for the next, I'd say, year or so, right? And as Nike release their new shoe, you know, time will pass eventually and that shoe will get replaced. And by the time it does, it might be considered previous model, or go on discount, or go to the outlet, and I'll swoop. That's when you kind of put everything together. But the point about this is you're not forced to rush out to the store to buy the latest and greatest, or say if I run out of a daily trainer, I go, oh, I need another daily trainer now. There's nothing at the outlets, like, oh, I have to pay full retail for the latest version. Like, oh no. This is kind of like going on the attack and kind of being like ahead of the curve, I think. And look, I'm going to use them, but let's say I didn't. Like, I could still probably sell these for maybe I could sell them for an amount. But basically, I've done the math. It seems that I've spent on all these shoes that I've shown you today, I've spent $1,033. And then compared to what the retail price is, if I had to pay these all retail, it's $2,200 and I think $30. So almost a little bit more than double. So I'd like to thank my girlfriend for inspiring this video, because she kind of said to me, well, why do you have so many running shoes? What's the point? Like, and I kind of wanted to make this to this is kind of the genesis for this video, to me think about, well, why is it that I'm thinking of investing in lots of shoes for lots of different types of runs, which I've got another video about, but this is more the side of how I actually never paid retail for these shoes, why I'm proud of that, and why it's, as a hobby, you need to kind of look out for that, because as they say, hobbies are expensive. But with something like this, you can kind of really start to set yourself up long term by kind of thinking about, well, hey, you know, daily trainer shoes, I'm set. Like, I've got 2 pairs of new Invincibles. I've got 3 pairs of daily trainers. I've got a speed work shoe that will work, these work up to 600-700 Ks. And then when, say, these get old, I can use these as a speed shoe when they're no longer a race shoe, and then, you know, integrate this as being a race shoe. you know, and then the current version of these, the Gen 3s will eventually go on sale, and the daily trainers, the new daily trainers, the $300 ones will probably be down. I guess what I'm trying to explain is to conquer the mountain, obviously it helps to have like, you know, lots of stuff. And this is trying to conquer the retail and the marketing side. So you don't have to buy the latest thing, but you can be smart and still almost get the latest thing. Like this is still technically the latest model, but you know, I got it for $100 versus 260. So you can be smart about it. And oh yeah, the colors might not be perfect, but who cares? Like really at the end of the day, I can still make that work with everything. And I got the black pair the other, like as well. So it's just the luck of the draw, like honestly. So the point I'm trying to get at is this is going to help you to conquer the mountain. It helps to have obviously the right gear and everything, but investing in the gear is expensive. There's ways to conquer that gear and get it for a really good deal to kind of inspire you to, you know, crush those workouts and give you the little extras oomph, all while saving money. Like there's no point paying full retail and putting yourself in a position to buy lots of shoes when you know you're getting into it, it's going to take a while to build up your mileage and you're not really going to get much benefit. Why put yourself financially under stress? What I'm trying to say is start slow, build. You know, I just started with this one shoe, $160, you know, discounted. Originally was $230. I'm pretty confident, right? But I used it for everything. And then eventually, as things expanded, I got another daily trainer and I got a race shoe, then I got a speed workout shoe. Like, you know what I mean? That is how we conquer mountains and conquer life. If you like this type of video, subscribe, comment. What do you think? Thank you so much. What are your deals that you've been able to get? What are your tips? But I think I've covered enough. So these all, you know, add up. You've got, you know, previous model, get the female version, see if there's an outlet, get a plug, go on the local marketplace, even buy online. Now for the women's, I would like to say, be confident that the size will fit you. So go to a store and see if you can try on, say if there's this, right? The Invincible 2. But say they only had this in a size 11, no, size, hang on. Actually, this is a good point. These are actually female as well. So these are female, these are female. These are a US 10, these are a US 9.5. Obviously, the silhouette of the shoe is very different. So that's why it's important to try on the shoe to be confident. Luckily, I could, but in a situation where I wasn't able to try on the shoe, go to a store and try on the female version. If the staff look at you, who cares? And then you'll know with confidence you can go online and buy that female version, get a good discount, and you know feel confident about your purchase and how you conquer the mountains, conquer life. Thank you.